Hi guys. Today we are going to be talking about the meaning and root causes of mistreatment in K-pop. I was looking at K-pop Twitter yesterday, always a bad idea, and people were complaining about mistreatment for literally the bajillionth time, and it's getting on my nerves now, so I wanted to make a video on it. There isn't much else to say in the way of an intro, so let's get started. A lot of fans use the word mistreatment in a way that would be better suited to unfair treatment. For example, they claim that one member getting less lines than all the others is mistreatment, or one member having worse styling than another is mistreatment. It can also go the other way with favoritism. The member with the best styling and the most lines is inherently favored by the group's company. People could say that an entire group is being mistreated by their company in favor of a newer one when their group doesn't get comebacks as often. We can see that the word mistreatment gets thrown around like candy, but it shouldn't be. There are things in the K-pop industry that can actually be considered human rights violations, such as slave contracts, incredibly long work hours, and worst of all, trainees being forced to perform sexual favors in order to debut. I think we can all agree that these examples are real mistreatment. They are also common, especially with groups from smaller companies where a debut has a much higher chance of failure than success. They are, for the most part, against the law. Just look at how the former EXO members sued SM for overworking them and giving them health issues. Though they didn't win their cases, the fact that the human rights abuses were bad enough for them to sue in the first place really tells you something about the state of K-pop. People are being mistreated. Actually, they are being abused, and we know about it. But there isn't that much of an outcry. We look at things like this and say, wow, it's horrible that that happened, but it happened already. I'm sure it doesn't happen to my idols. We don't see people petitioning SM to ensure proper health breaks for their idols. Instead, we see people hiring trucks to park outside the YG building, demanding that all the members of Blackpink get solo debuts because the lack of solos means that the members are being mistreated. Sure, it may not be fair that members have things that others don't, but none of them are having to sue their companies about it. Maybe the members are sad about the unfair treatment, or a little stressed out about it. Best case scenario is that they don't mind at all. We don't know these idols, so we can't judge how they feel about the unfair treatment, but at least they aren't having their human rights violated, as far as the public can tell. Using the term mistreatment so nonchalantly disregards the actual mistreatment that many idols experience. And by the way, Blackpink is only one example of fans getting really mad about unfair treatment. No hate to the girls themselves, of course. Their fans might need to check their priorities, that's all. Why do we make such a big deal about unfair treatment which in any other business would never cause an outcry? Well, my theory is that fans are only choosing to see the good in their favorite companies, and by extension the industry as a whole. If fans make a lot of noise about the trivial unfair things that their idols are experiencing, then they are distracting from the actual bad things, which by the way, is exactly what the companies want the fans to be doing. Would YG rather have Blink's trending hashtags about Rosé not having a solo yet, or Blink's trending hashtags about Burning Sun? I think you know the answer. I've said this before and I'll say it again, K-pop is a business. Companies aren't going to address anything fans talk about unless there's actual money in it for them, and in the case of quote-unquote mistreatment, there really isn't. It might even be that fans talking about the mistreatment of their idols generates more buzz than the idols being treated fairly would. Fans don't really have anything to make noise about when everything is going just fine. Also, everything I've said so far addresses people who are already in the fandoms of the groups that they complain about. But we also can look at the general public. No matter how big a fandom is, the size of a fandom will never be greater than that of the general public. So it is a general rule that companies will try to market to the general public at least a little bit. They could do it to draw in new fans, for example, but why they do it doesn't really matter. Anyways, in terms of the general public, the unfair treatment of members could actually be better for the company. I'm sorry to beat a dead horse even more, but let's take Blackpink as an example again. The general public might not be familiar with all the members of Blackpink, and it is most likely that if they know any members, the member they know is Jennie, and this was true even before her solo debut. So debuting Jennie solo will draw the most attention, and therefore most money, from the general public. I don't think it has anything to do with YG wanting to favor Jennie more because they actually like her more or anything. I think they just want to make the most money. If Jisoo was the most famous Blackpink member, then you can bet that she would have had a solo debut first. This idea goes for pretty much every company. They are called companies, not idol clubhouses after all. People tend to forget that these companies value money over both public opinion and the happiness or well-being of idols. Sometimes, the money lies in keeping idols healthy and making the public happy, but other times it doesn't, and that's when fans start to get upset. By the end of writing this script, I was wondering if I should make this video at all. I thought that the way that companies work is never going to change because, well, capitalism, so it doesn't really matter if fans get mad about unfair treatment or not. But then I realized that yes, it does matter. Fans saying that unfair treatment is the worst thing ever distracts from the actual mistreatment that is going on. We'd rather pretend that the real mistreatment doesn't happen. In making this video, I hope that I can raise more awareness about real mistreatment. I would also hope that this video persuaded my viewer to not go on an angry Twitter rant about how their groups don't have as many schedules as another. We can enjoy K-pop, we can love our idols, and we can even be company stans, but let's not look really stupid while doing it. Bye guys, and I'll see you in the next one.